So it was that for a long time, when awakened at night, I remembered Cambrai again. I saw nothing of it but this sort of luminous panel cut out among indistinct shadows, like those panels which the glow of a Bengal light or some electric projection will cut out and illuminate in a building whose other parts remain plunged in darkness. At the rather broad base, the small parlor, the dining room, the opening of the dark path by which Monsieur Swann, the unconscious author of my sufferings, would arrive, the front hall when I would head towards the first step of the staircase, so painful to climb that formed by itself the very narrow trunk of this irregular pyramid, and at the top my bedroom, the little hallway and its glass-paned door for Mama's entrance. In a word, always seen at the same hour, isolated from everything that might surround it, standing out alone against the darkness, the bare minimum of scenery, such as one sees prescribed at the beginnings of old plays for performances in the provinces, needed for the drama of my undressing, as though Cambrai consisted only of 2 floors connected by a slender staircase, and as though it had always been 7 o'clock in the evening there. The fact is, I could have answered anyone who asked me that Cambrai also included other things and existed at other times of the day, but since what I recalled would have been supplied to me only by my voluntary memory, the memory of the intelligence, and since the information it gives about the past preserves nothing of the past itself, I would never have had any desire to think about the rest of Cambrai. It was all really quite dead for me. Dead forever? Possibly. There's a great deal of chance in all this, and a second sort of chance event, that of our own death, often does not allow us to wait long for the favors of the first. I find the Celtic belief very reasonable. The souls of those we have lost are held captive in some inferior creature, in an animal, in a plant, in some inanimate object, effectively lost to us until the day, which for many never comes, when we happen to pass close to the tree, come into possession of the object that is their prison. Then they quiver, they call out to us, and as soon as we have recognized them, the spell is broken. Delivered by us, they have overcome death, and they return to live with us. It is the same with our past. It is a waste of effort for us to try to summon it. All the exertions of our intelligence are useless. The past is hidden outside the realm of our intelligence and beyond its reach in some material object, and the sensation that this material object would give us, which we do not suspect. It depends on chance whether we encountered this object before we die or do not encounter it. For many years already, everything about Cambrai that was not the theater and drama of my bedtime had ceased to exist for me. When one day, as I returned home, my mother, seeing that I was cold, suggested that contrary to my habit, I have a little tea. I refused at first, and then, I do not know why, changed my mind. She sent for one of those squat, plump cakes called Petite Madeleine that look as though they have been molded in the grooved valve of a scallop shell. And soon mechanically, oppressed by the gloomy day and the prospect of another sad day to follow, I carried to my lips a spoonful of the tea in which I had let soften a bit of Madeleine. But at the very instant when the mouthful of tea mixed with cake crumbs touched my palate, I quivered, attentive to the extraordinary thing that was happening inside me. A delicious pleasure had invaded me, isolated me, without my having any notion as to its cause. It had immediately rendered the vicissitudes of life unimportant to me, its disasters innocuous, its brevity illusory, acting in the same way that love acts by filling me with a precious essence. Or rather, this essence was not merely inside me, it was me. I had ceased to feel mediocre, contingent, mortal. Where could it have come to me from, this powerful joy? I sensed that it was connected to the taste of the tea and the cake, but that it went infinitely far beyond it. It could not be of the same nature. Where did it come from? What did it mean? How could I grasp it? I drink a second mouthful, in which I find nothing more than in the first, a third that gives me a little less than the second. It is time for me to stop. The virtue of the drink seems to be diminishing. Clearly, the truth I am seeking is not in the drink, but in me. The drink has awoken it in me, but it does not know this truth, and can do no more than repeat indefinitely with less and less force this same testimony, which I do not know how to interpret, which I want at least to be able to ask of it again and find again, intact, available to me soon for a decisive clarification. I put down the cup and turned to my mind. It is up to my mind to find the truth, but how? Such grave uncertainty whenever the mind feels overtaken by itself. When if the seeker is also the obscure country where it must seek, and where all its baggage will be nothing to it. Seek, not only that, create. It is face to face with something that does not yet exist and that only it can accomplish, then bring into its light. And I begin asking myself again what it could be, this unknown state, which brought with it no logical proof, but only the evidence of its felicity, its reality, and in whose presence the other states of consciousness faded away. I want to make it reappear. I return in my thoughts to the moment when I took the first spoonful of tea. I find the same state again without any new clarity. I ask my mind to make another effort to bring back once more the sensation that is slipping away. And so that nothing may interrupt the thrust with which I will try to grasp it again, I clear away every obstacle, every foreign idea. I protect my ears and my attention from the noises in the next room. But feeling my mind grow tired without succeeding, I now compel it to accept the very distraction I was denying it, to think of something else, to recover its strength before a supreme effort. Then for a second time, I create an empty space before it. I confront it again with the still recent taste of that first mouthful, and I feel something quiver in me, shift, try to rise, something that seems to have been unanchored at a great depth. I do not know what it is, but it comes up slowly. I feel the resistance, and I hear the murmur of the distances covered. Certes, ce qui palpite ainsi au fond de moi, ce doit être l'image, le souvenir visuel qui, lié à cette saveur, tente de la suivre jusqu'à moi. Mais il se débat trop loin, trop confusément, à peine si je perçois le reflet neutre où se confond l'insaisissable tourbillon de couleurs remuées. Mais je ne peux distinguer la forme, lui demander comme au seul interprète possible de me traduire le témoignage de sa contemporaine, de son inséparable compagne, la saveur, lui demander de m'apprendre de quelles circonstances particulières, de quelle époque du passé il s'agit. Arrivera-t-il jusqu'à la surface de ma claire conscience, ce souvenir, l'instant ancien que l'attraction d'un instant identique est venue de si loin susciter, émouvoir, soulever tout au fond de moi, je ne sais. Maintenant, je ne sens plus rien. Il est arrêté, redescendu peut-être, qui sait s'il remontera jamais de sa nuit. 10 fois, il me faut recommencer, me pencher vers lui. Et chaque fois, la lâcheté qui nous détourne de tâches difficiles, de toute œuvre importante, m'a conseillé de laisser cela, de boire mon thé en pensant simplement à mes ennuis d'aujourd'hui, à mes désirs de demain, qui se laissent au marché sans peine. Et tout d'un coup, le souvenir m'est apparu. Ce goût, c'était celui du petit morceau de Madeleine que les dimanches matins à Cambrai, parce que ce jour-là, je ne sortais pas avant l'heure de la messe. Quand j'allais lui dire bonjour dans sa chambre, ma tante Léonie m'offrait, après l'avoir trempé dans son infusion de thé ou de tilleul. La vue de la petite Madeleine ne m'avait rien rappelé avant que j'y eusse gusté. Peut-être parce que, en ayant souvent aperçu depuis, sans en manger sur les tablettes des pâtissiers, leur image avait quitté ces jours de Cambrai pour se lier à d'autres plus récents. Peut-être parce que de ces souvenirs abandonnés sur longtemps, hors de la mémoire, rien ne survivait. Tout s'était désagrégé. Les formes, et celles aussi du petit coquillage de pâtisserie si grassement sensuel, sous son plissage sévère et dévot, s'étaient abolies ou ensommeillées, avaient perdu la force d'expansion qui leur eût permis de rejoindre la conscience. Mais quand dans le passé ancien rien ne subsiste, après la mort des êtres, après la destruction des choses, seule, plus frêle mais plus vivace, plus immatérielle, plus persistante, plus fidèle, l'odeur et la saveur restent encore longtemps, comme des âmes, à se rappeler, à attendre, à espérer, sur la ruine de tout le reste, à porter sans fléchir, sur le gouttet presque impalpable, l'édifice immense du souvenir. Et dès que j'eus reconnu le goût de morceaux de Madeleine trempés dans le tilleul que me donnait ma tante, quoique je ne susse pas encore et dusse remettre à bien plus tard de découvrir pourquoi ce souvenir me rendait si heureux, aussitôt la vieille maison grise sur la rue où c'était sa chambre vint comme un décor de théâtre s'appliquer au petit pavillon donnant sur le jardin qu'on avait construit pour mes parents sur les derrières, ce pont tronqué que seul j'avais revu jusque-là, et avec la maison, la ville, depuis le matin jusqu'au soir, et par tous les temps, la place où on m'envoyait avant le déjeuner, les rues où j'allais faire les courses, les chemins qu'on prenait si le temps était beau. Et comme dans ce jeu où les Japonais s'amusent à tremper dans un bol de porcelaine rempli d'eau, depuis le morceau de papier jusqu'à indistinct qui, à peine y sont-ils plongés, s'étirent, se contournent, se colorent, se différencient, deviennent des fleurs, des maisons, des personnages consistants et reconnaissables. De même, maintenant, toutes les fleurs de notre jardin et celles du parc de M. Swann et les nymphéas de la Vivonne et les bonnes gens du village et leurs petits logis et l'église et tout compris ses environs, tout cela qui prend forme et solidité est sorti, vit les jardins de ma tasse de thé.